Hey guys, it's AndrewJohn100 here, back with another video, and welcome to the 400,000 subscriber Q&A. Now, I've been planning to do a Q&A for a while, and back then I did do a Q&A in 2017, but I thought it was pretty bad. And I also wanted to do more than just make a video dedicated to the milestone. I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to answer a couple of questions that I get frequently asked. I'll be going over them, and I'll also showcase some behind the scenes of Freddy Fazbear Friends and the games that I've made over the years. And before I start, I just want to thank everyone for 400,000 subscribers. It's been a real blast throughout the years, and you guys are all awesome, and thank you so much. So let's not waste any more time and get started on the Q&A. Alright, first question. Nick5791 asks, first of all, congrats on 400,000 subscribers. Which are your favorite FNAF games? What do you think of the upcoming FNAF game Security Breach? And what is your opinion about the FNAF movie? Alright, my favorite FNAF game would easily have to be FNAF VR Help Wanted. There's a lot about this game that I like. The game's graphics might be bleak, but this game clearly had a lot of love put into it. First of all, there are remasters of Final Fantasy 1 through 3. There's also mini games here like Vent Repair, Dark Rooms, Night Terrors, and my personal favorite, the Parts and Service levels, where you get to repair the FNAF 1 animatronics. After Ultimate Custom Night, I feared that the franchise would get stale out after this, but Steel Wool managed to make a game that's unique on its own and an overall fantastic installment of the franchise. Sure, the game did get a few things wrong, like the jump scare noises and the fact that the phantoms are in their FNAF 1 form, but my issues with the game are more OCD related, and it doesn't change the fact that it's still a great game. And I like other installments from the franchise too, like Ultimate Custom Night, FNAF 2, FNAF 3, and I personally enjoyed FNAF 3, and the first game was a classic, no doubt. And as far as least favorite FNAF games, that would be Special Delivery. I know there's a group of people who like this game, and that's okay, but personally, I don't like it. No, it's not because it's a mobile game, it's just the overall quality of the game, and the direction is not so good. The gameplay is pretty bare bones, and the novelty of getting your streak up, fighting animatronics, getting plush shoots, and all that other stuff wears off pretty quickly. Every time I install this game, I would always end up uninstalling it because of how boring it got. Now, the game does have a few good things, like the soundtrack, the ambience, and it was nice to see a few minor characters like Endo01 and RXQ to get a main role. But how can I enjoy these things when the game's actual quality is crappy? There are bugs and glitches everywhere. This game is probably the most bugged mobile game I've ever played. I can't even enjoy the game without having to crash on me every few minutes. And especially when the new update came around, you know, when Jacko Chica came out, I couldn't even go into a character without having the game crash on me. And Illumix haven't done anything about it. If they can't solve it, then they can at least address it that they can't do anything about it. But nope. Their communication is also very lackluster. Like, the major gameplay update was meant to come out in late April, but it was delayed, and they haven't said anything about it. Yes, we got a teaser on April 30th, the day it was supposedly supposed to come out, but they haven't said anything since then. I understand delays happen, but it would have been nice to at least get a heads up on this game. So, unless the gameplay update fixes this game, FNAF AR is easily my least favorite game. Okay, now on to the second question. I'm sorry it took long to get to it. What do you think of the upcoming FNAF game Security Breach? I think it looks pretty promising. I mean, I think the concept of the animatronics being the good guys is a nice change of pace. I'm curious how characters will play out, like Vanny, Gregory, the Glamrocks, and even that supposed secret animatronic at the end of the trailer. And I'm pretty hyped for it. However, it does suck that it keeps getting delayed, no thanks to a certain virus. But trust me, when this game comes out, it might even nuke FNAF AR. As for the movie, I'm just hoping that it will be good, because normally when something gets adapted into a movie, it will most likely fail. But I am also interested in how the animatronics are going to be depicted in this movie. Will it be a mix of CGI and bodysuit acting with animatronic heads, or will it be CGI altogether? How do you think the animatronics will be represented in the movie? Let me know in the comments below. And as for the story, I really have no idea. Alright, next question. Wolf asks, I have 3 questions for you. How do you get the money to buy plushies? I get plushies with the money I receive from YouTube, but before then, it would normally be my parents who would buy them. Sometimes they would find them in a store, or sometimes they would be purchased with Christmas money or birthday money. And no, I don't own any Sanchi plushies. And as for the timeline, I don't think that's necessary. I mean, the timeline is explained in the videos. Alright, Super FNAF World asks, back in 2018, why did you move to Arizona? Just wondering. It wasn't really my idea to move to Arizona, it was actually my parents. Ever since we started visiting Arizona every year, my mom had the idea to just move there, and I was pretty hesitant at first, but after a visit in 2017, I thought, you know what, it might be a cool idea. And so we moved in March 2018, and another reason why she wanted to move was because she wanted to be closer to her parents. Alright, next question. Fox Rocks asks, what is your favorite Freddy Fazbear Friends animation you made? There's a lot of animations that I'm proud of. I mean, I'm really proud of how Phantom Foxy's family turned out. I also like the Among Us video, and animations like Fazbear Lottery, Chica's gaming channel, and that was fun to do. As for least favorite animations, there's a lot that I'm not too proud of, like Chica Runs Away. It's not hard to see why many people hate that episode. Freddy was a complete jerk in that episode, character derailment was at its max, and the story was just stupid, I think. And there was also Freddy's Fidget Spinner, which was deleted because I just made Freddy a total D-word in that episode. And yeah, it's been deleted since then. But also videos like the birthday videos, I feel like I dragged those videos too long. Like, they did not have to be over 20 minutes. They could have easily been trimmed down to like 7 or even 10 minutes. And as for the Nightmare Arrival, while I did like how it turned out, the scene where Freddy just confronts and yells at Chica was completely unnecessary, and I probably would have just edited it out altogether. Alright, now on to the next question. Springtrap asks, will you start remaking your old videos? At the moment, no, but I do have intentions of remastering Trip to the Moon because that is an episode that is in definite need of remastering. Okay, Anime LPS Freak of Nature asks, I also have some questions for you. What is your favorite food? What is your favorite book? What is your favorite movie? What is your favorite animal? What is your favorite game? I already answered that. My favorite food would probably be turkey and Swiss sandwiches. I know that's random, but I really like them, especially with onions, pickles, and yellow mustard. I also like Italian food like pasta, especially my dad's pasta, and garlic bread is pretty good. And as for drinks, my favorite soda will be Mountain Dew, and my favorite drink in general will be water. And what's your favorite book? I don't really have one. Now, as my favorite movie, there's a lot of movies that I like Titanic, Jurassic Park, E.T. As far as anime movie, I'm mainly into DreamWorks and Pixar films. And as far as Blue Sky films, I like them, but their movies are always a mixed bag for me. I really liked movies like Robots, and I thought that the first three Ice Age movies were pretty good. And yes, I did like the first two sequels of Ice Age. I didn't like the fourth and fifth one though. I just thought they were very boring. And as for favorite animal, it would definitely have to be an elephant. Okay, Leafy and Cupcake FTW Gun and Snowball FTL asked, what do you use to make Nightmare Charles? Okay, this is a really good question. Well, when starting a game, I normally it starts out as a thought, and when that thought starts, I kind of go through some ideas, think about some characters, think about the setting, think about the story, and kind of like maybe remove things I'm not satisfied with. And once all that is planned, I just start into the modeling phase, which is probably the hardest phase because this is where you have to make everything visually, and it takes a lot of patience, and there's just a lot of attention to detail. And today you're going to get an up-close view of some of the Nightmare Charles character models. Okay, I'm going to go find it. Starting with Charles Rabbit. When I made the first Nightmare Charles game, it wasn't always going to be Charles, Ashley, Billy, Pedro, and Morton. It was actually supposed to consist of a tiger, an elephant, and a hippo. I discussed the ideas with my friends, and one of them said that it would have been too complex to make an elephant and hippo animatronic. And remember that this was before FNAF 6 came out. And so I decided to just go to simplify the designs a little bit. And I went with an orange rabbit, and I named him Charles Rabbit. And I kind of knew what he was supposed to be from the start. I knew that he was going to be an orange rabbit with a bow tie holding a banjo. As for Billy and Ashley, well, Billy was kind of the same story as Charles. I knew that he was going to be a brown dog. And no, he is not based on Sparky. And I was trying to think about what instrument he should play, and I thought, you know what, maybe it would be interesting if he played a big, flashy organ. And so I went with it from there. As for Ashley, I knew that she was just going to be a purple cat, so I went with her design from here. And the only thing I struggled on her was trying to find a good name for her, and Ashley was her placeholder name. Until I realized that, yeah, you know what, I think the name is good enough. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail about other characters, but I'm going to show you how I make some of the jump scares. And keep in mind that some of the textures are missing, because this session hasn't been open in a while. But see these green blocks? These green blocks allow me to move a certain... Oh, sorry about that. These blocks allow me to move a certain part of an animatronic's body without me touching the part where it's jointed at. And it makes it a lot easier. And how I move that is... I just click on auto key, and when I move the block, a green key will show up, and that indicates movement. And I keep doing it until I'm satisfied with the animation that I have. After I'm satisfied with the session or jump scare, I go over to rendering and I hit render. And keep in mind that you also have to go through some settings. You also have to go through some of these settings. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them. So you just hit render, and then it renders, and it saves it. And in order to save it, you just click on files and then choose a output file in order to save them. Now you might be asking, what do I use to make the games themselves? Well, like Scott, I use Click Team Fusion. This is the game engine that almost all of the fan-made games are made, like Finds of Candies, Pop Goes, and a few others. Not counting the Joy Creation games or those Nights of Rachel's, because those are 3D games. And I'll use Nightmare Charles 4 as an example. Whenever I start a new MFA file, the first frame that's usually created is the main game session, as you can see here. Now, I'm not gonna go into detail about the coding because that's a bit too complex. And that's pretty much how I make my games. As for FNAF the Beginnings, when making the character models, I use the Help Wanted models as reference, as they are Scott's but edited, and I essentially traced over them from there. And the textures were found online. And as for the coding, and I basically used the same methods for Nightmare Charles to make this game. Anyways, on to the next question. Sweetest Animation asks, which character in all of your series is the most fun to voice as? If I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have one. Now, I do enjoy voicing some characters like Bonnie, Toy Bonnie, who else? Chica, and a couple of others. Now on to the next question. FNAF Fan 2008 asks, what inspired you to make videos? What was your first FNAF game you've ever played, and how much do you love Sweetest Animations? Well, I've always been a fan of channels back in 2012, 13, 14, I've always been a fan of comedy videos like the ones Smosh used to do, and also I've also liked plush videos like the ones that SML used to make, even if his channel has gotten pretty bad in recent years. And I've also liked gaming channels like Markiplier, Dashy Games, and a couple of others. As far as the first FNAF game, well, obviously it's the first game. And if you're wondering how I came across this franchise, it was way back in August 2014. I was playing my games, and I would occasionally watch YouTube videos while playing them on my iPad. And when I was scrolling down to my recommendations, a thumbnail of Markiplier's Finds Phrase 1 video came up, and I watched it. And before, Finds a Phrase used to terrify me, but after a couple of months, the series easily became my favorite. And as for how much I love Sweetest Animations, I love her from the moon to back. Alright, on to... Okay, Bernie the Cat asks, have you ever thought of doing a more serious FNAF SFM series with drama or action? Well, yes. Season 6 is gonna be a change of direction for Freddy Fazbear and Friends. Okay, Miguel Video Studios asks, will there be gameplay videos with the Benny the 8 Machine crew? Nah, I don't know. I don't think people will be interested in that, and I don't think that'll be a good idea. Alright, Cooner Animations asks, do you live alone or do you still live with your parents? I currently live with my parents, but I do have plans to move out into my own house this year, which will probably be in the middle of the summer or late summer. I still have one more semester of college, but I'm gonna move out before then. At least, and I'll try. Okay, Israel asks, did you draw your OC or is it inspired off of something else? Well, obviously, my OC is based off of Withered Freddy. Well, Unwithered Freddy. And that's how all FNAF OCs are based on. They're based on a specific character, but have their own characteristic traits. Like with mine, there are my glasses and my hair. And my original OC used to be a green bear, but with brown hair. And I realized that my original OC was a bit of an eyesore to look at. So that's why my hair is no longer brown, and I like it more because it matches the color of my OC. Okay, next question. Annoying Pig asks, have you ever thought of doing a Bendy Tales / Freddy Fazbear Friends crossover? This is a question that I get requested and asked a lot. I don't really have plans of doing a crossover with Bendy Tales and Freddy Fazbear Friends because I feel like there's no way I can incorporate them into Freddy Fazbear Friends without breaking any continuity. It would just appear out of place. So I don't really have plans of doing a crossover. Okay, Fortnite for Life asks, do you play Fortnite? No, and I don't plan to. Okay, Jay Steffer MLG asks, what kind of PC do you have? Well, it is an Intel Core i7 iBi-Power gaming PC. I bought it shortly after my old PC broke, and no, it didn't break because of the Chica video. It broke because of other reasons. And so far, it's a fantastic PC, and I highly recommend it. But keep in mind that it's extremely pricey. When I bought mine, it was roughly over $1,300. Alright, next question. The Elemental Griffin asks, what are your favorite games outside of the FNAF franchise? As far as favorite horror games, I would have to say Monstrum. Yeah, I really like Monstrum because I think the overall setting is really unique. We never really got a game or horror game that's centered around a ship that's filled with monsters. I think that was a pretty cool concept. And the game's graphics are really well made for 2015, and the monsters themselves are all unique and aren't just the same character. One of my favorite monsters from them? Probably the Brute. He's just really cool. As far as least favorite monster, probably the Fiend, because he's a huge pain in the butt, and he scares me the most. And as far as other games, I don't play much PlayStation 4 games. I'm more of a retro type of game, mainly around GameCube and PlayStation 2 games. And when it comes to video games themselves, it's mostly licensed games, like SpongeBob, Scooby-Doo, and a few others. The games that I like the most are probably Battle for Bikini Bottom, the movie game, Creature from the Krusty Krab. As far as Scooby-Doo, probably Night of 100 Frights, and Mystery Mayhem. And there are some other games that I like too. Alright, next question. Shadow Dragon asks, what inspired you to do YouTube and SFM? Well, I already answered what inspired me to do YouTube, but I guess I'll go over what inspired me to do SFM. Well, during my FNAF craze, and this was back in 2014, I became heavily interested in making my own FNAF series. Now, of course, I would have to make it in SFM because FNAF plushies didn't exist back then. And I also got inspired by all the other SFM animations that were popular at the time. And I also wanted to do like a sitcom, slice of life type of series. So I watched some tutorials, messed around in SFM a little bit, and once I came up with the idea for Trip to the Moon, the rest is history. Okay, now on to the next question. Cal McDuck asks, how's the HOOO layout coming along? I haven't been really motivated to do some work on it. I mean, yeah, as for my trains, they're doing fine. I mean, I have gotten some lubrication and maintenance tools so they can run better. But and I did get a few new engines like Stepney and Dart. But as for the layout itself, I haven't done much work on it. Now, the Thomas series is gonna start. I just don't know when. I might start it at around like maybe when I move out. But at the moment, I'm not sure when it'll start. Now, when I do the Thomas series, it's not going to be like the original series. It's going to be like in the style of Freddy Fazbear and Friends and Benny Tales, and pretty much what makes the series is enjoyable for all my fans. Okay, next question. Pego Sauce asks, SFM or Blender? Well, I use Source Filmmaker to make my animations, and while it's not an easy software to use, I do think it's the cheapest way to start on animation, because then you don't have to make a bunch of character models, because everything you need is pretty much right there, and it's pretty straightforward. And there are tutorials where you can get better at it, but if you want to start on working on animations, then I recommend SFM. But it can be a bit of a pain in the butt to work with at times. As for Blender, I've actually been experienced with Blender a lot, and I am getting a bit more comfortable with it as I keep messing with it. But if I ever get skilled at it as much as I am with Source Filmmaker, then I might switch animation softwares, because while Source Filmmaker is a useful tool for animation, it is limiting in terms of software and pretty much creative and prop wise. But in Blender, you don't have that limitation, and you can just make the models. So will I ever switch to Blender? It's unlikely, but who knows? You never know what will happen in the future. Alright, Cool Dude asks, how tall are you? I'm roughly 5'10". Alright, next question. The Who Doctor 21 asks, how did you get the name AndrewJohn100? Okay, the channel was created all the way back in 2010, and before, it was originally my mom's channel where she would post vlogs about our family activities. And before, it was originally called Josh Andrew 100. And the name stayed like that even when I got a hold of the channel back in 2012. However, the reason why I changed it from Josh Andrew 100 to AndrewJohn 100 was because people kept mistaking my name for Josh, even though it was Andrew. And it got to the point where I just wanted to change my name. And so around May 2016, I changed my name to AndrewJohn 100 so that people wouldn't get confused. So yeah, I'm not sure where exactly the name Josh Andrew 100 came from, but I can only assume it just came out of nowhere in my mom's mind. Alright, next question. Alejandro Blanco, I'm sorry if I couldn't pronounce your name correctly, asks, which FNAF character is your favorite? My favorite FNAF 1 character would be Bonnie. As for favorite FNAF 2 character, well, for toys, I would say Mangle. As for Withered animatronics, I think it would be Withered Freddy. I just like his design, and same with Mangle. I think her design is really cool and really unique from the others. As for favorite FNAF 3 character, probably Spraintrap. I mean, who doesn't like Spraintrap? He's a cool character. As for favorite Phantom, I don't have one. As for favorite FNAF 4 character, to be honest, it's kind of hard to say because there's a lot of characters in that game that I like. I guess for now, it would probably be Nightmare Bonnie. And as for favorite Halloween character, it would probably be Nightmarion because his design is hecka cool. As for favorite Jacko, probably Jacko Chica. As for favorite FNAF 6 location character, definitely Circus Baby. And as far as favorite FNAF 6 character, oh boy, FNAF 6 introduced so many characters that it's hard to decide. My favorite mediocre melody would probably be Orville Elephant, but that's mainly due to the fact that I love elephants. As for favorite Rockstar, I don't really have one, to be honest. But I like characters like Music Man, El Chip, and I thought Security Puppet was a cool character, although he only appeared twice and never came back. And as for favorite Scrappy animatronic, definitely Scrap Baby. I mean, yeah, her design is over the top, but who cares? I think it's awesome, especially the claw. And I think Lefty's pretty cool. I mean, he does have the puppet inside of him. And I like Molten Freddy. And as far as like least favorite FNAF characters, I don't really have one, but the only real character who I'm not too fond of is Scrap Trap. And it's pretty accepted that Scrap Trap's design is not so good. The problem is that he is nowhere near as creepy or well designed as Springtrap. The problem with Scrap Trap is that his design is just so different, and to the point where things don't add up. And it doesn't help that he has that huge forehead, which is why he gets the nickname Peanut Trap. Couple that with his whack proportions and exaggerated features makes him overall more goofy than scary. He's a good example of a redesign done wrong. Again, I don't hate him, but I just think he's a poor example of a redesign. And I'm not too fond of other characters like Bonnet, Electrobab. Yeah, I don't hate those characters, but they're just forgettable. Alright, next question. What is your favorite color? Green. And okay, on to the last question. Mewtwo Shadow FNAF Girl asks, will Vanny and the Glamrocks appear in Freddy Fazbear and Friends? At the moment, I don't have plans of adding them, but it's possible that they might appear. Again, I'm not sure how I'll introduce them, but I'll see what I can do to incorporate them. Well, that's it for the questions. But before I end the video, I'm going to give you some behind the scenes of Freddy Fazbear and Friends and how it's made. Okay, I'll use Phantom Foxy's family as an example. As you can see, instead of just thinking of the episode idea and kind of scripting it out and voicing the characters from here, post-production actually went into this episode, and same with Bloopers of FNAF. I also had one of my friends help out with this episode as well, and he did the voice of Phantom Foxy in that episode. So as you can see, like, right here, you might be asking, what software do I use to record my videos? I use Audacity. I highly recommend this voicing software because it's pretty easy to use. In order to hit record, I just press the red button, and as you can see, it's recording my voice right now. In order to stop the recording, you just hit stop. And how I export my files into SFM is I hit export wave. What file do I export my audio in? It's in SFM Scratch, which is just the file I recommend putting in, as you can see. Alright, this is where all the magic happens. And SFM is a pretty complicated software to use, so I'll showcase a little bit of animating the characters. Okay. Alright, I just got, okay, now I got Freddy here. And if SFM lags on you, then I recommend going into render settings and turning off ambient inclusion. That will increase the frame rate, hopefully. SFM users might be asking, what editor do I use to animate my characters? I use the graph editor because I think the graph editor is the easiest one to use. So the same kind of method is used for Nightmare Trolls. I move the timer a little bit, move the character, play it again, move the character again, and repeat the same technique. So as you can see, Freddy is now moving, even if that's a really weird animation, as you can see. And once the animation is done, I just export it, drop it into Sony Vegas, which is the editing software that I use, add the sound effects, music, and that's how Freddy Fazbear and Friends is made. Okay, well, that's gonna wrap up this entire video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And also, if you don't want to miss out on any uploads I make in the future, just click the notification bell next to the subscribe button, and that way you'll be notified every time I release a new video. I'm gonna get going, and thank you so much for 400,000 subscribers. You guys are all awesome and you mean a lot to me. Bye bye.